Hello students, I am Sandeep Kumar Singh and I hope you all are fine and healthy. So today we are going to discuss about the Sound of Music part 2. Students, part 1 I have already explained, and if you have not gone through that video, then you may click on the link given below. So students, let us see the Sound of Music part 2, the Sehnai of Bismillah Khan. Here this chapter throws light on the origin of Sehnai and the life of Sehnai maestro Bismillah Khan. So students, actually Bismillah Khan was born on 21st March 1916 in the state of Bihar in India. He was a true patriot and a legendary musician of India. For him, music is God, music is soul. So let us see line by line. Emperor Aurangzeb banned the playing of a musical instrument called pungi in the royal residence, for it had a shrill, unpleasant sound. So students, Aurangzeb is the 6th ruler of the Mughal emperor, and he is one of the most hated king in India, in Indian history. He ruled for nearly 50 years. Okay. Emperor Aurangzeb banned the playing of a musical instrument called pungi. Pungi is a musical instrument, okay, students, and Aurangzeb, he banned it. Okay, he denied that this very instrument will not be played in the royal residence. Why do you know? Because it had a shrill and unpleasant sound. Pungi became the generic name for a reeded noisemaker. And generic, generic name means a name given to a class or group as a whole. Say for example, in the field of medicine, you might have heard about paracetamol. Okay students, this is what? This is antipyretic. Okay, so paracetamol is a generic name, and this very drugs or medicine is prepared by so many brands, company. Okay, they used to manufacture it. Say for example, Colpool, Crocin, Pyrite. Okay, so here paracetamol is what? It's a name of this is its generic name. Okay, so in the same way, pungi, what we can say, it became a generic name for the reeded noisemakers. Okay, that yes, this very instrument is not good. Okay, it produces an unpleasant sound. Okay, and that is why it was banned in the royal residence. Few had thought that it would one day be revived. Okay, and few people have thought that one day will come when it would revived or renewed. A barber of a family of professional musician, one barber was there, and he belonged to a professional musician family who had access to the royal palace, and he was having access, okay, to the royal palace. He decided to improve the tonal quality of the pungi, and he decided that yes, he will improve. Tonal means what? Its sound quality. Okay, he chose a pipe with a natural hollow stem, and that was longer and broader than the pungi, and made 7 holes on the body of the pipe. Okay students, now here on the screen you can see the images of both, that is called pungi and the Sehnai, you see the difference between a pungi and Sehnai can be noticed by the difference in the shape and the sound it produced. Okay, Sehnai, as you can see here on the screen, that it is a bit longer than pungi and it has a very soft and melodious sound, whereas pungi is what? It's a little bit shorter, okay, than Sehnai, and it produces a very shrill and unpleasant sound. Okay, students. So when he played on it, closing and opening some of these holes, soft and melodious sounds were produced. Okay, he played the instrument before royalty and everyone was impressed. So that barber was having access to the royal court. Okay, he revived it and he played in the royal court, and really everyone got impressed. The instrument, so different from the pungi, had to be given a new name, and now all the people, those who were there, they have decided that yes, this is kind of what we can say a new musical instrument, different from the pungi, so it should be given one name. Okay, so as the story goes, since it was the first played in the Shah's chamber, that instrument was for the first time played where? In the Shah's chamber. Shah means your king. Okay, so since it was first played in the Shah's chamber and was played by whom? A Nai. Nai, it's a Hindi word, you might have heard. Okay, barbar. Okay, so it was first played in the Shah's office, Shah's chamber, and it was played by a what? Nai, barbar. So that is why the instrument was named Sehnai. Here Seh, S-E-H. This word came from the word Shah. Okay, and Nai means what? Barbar. As barbar had played that instrument. Okay, in Shah's chamber. So that is why its name, okay, became Sehnai. So from that day onwards, that instrument is known as Sehnai. Okay, students. The sound of the Sehnai began to be considered auspicious. Auspicious means, promising to bring good fortune. Okay, it is believed that yes, the sound which get produced from Sehnai, it used to bring a good fortune to us, and that is why and for this reason it is still played in temples and is an indispensable component of any North Indian wedding, and that is why, as it used to bring good fortune, so that is why it is played mainly in different temples, and it became a indispensable part of Indian wedding. That means in wedding it is very, very important, very necessary to play Sehnai. In the past, the Sehnai was part of Naubat, or traditional ensemble of 9 instruments found at royal courts. So in the past, it was what we can say a custom, okay, that in the royal court there should be 9 musical instruments, and out of that 9 musical instruments, the Sehnai has got place. Okay, Sehnai is one of them. It must be there in the royal court. Till recently, it was used only in temples and weddings. Okay, and the credit for bringing this instrument onto the classical stage goes to Ustad Bismillah Khan. Okay, slowly that music started playing on the stage, and it was brought by Bismillah Khan. As a 5-year-old, Bismillah Khan played Gilli Danda near a pond in ancient state of Dumrao in Bihar. As I have said you earlier, that he belonged to Bihar. Okay, so when he was 5-year-old, he used to play what? Gilli Danda game. It's a type of game. On the screen you can see the picture. 2 boys were there, okay, and they were playing this game, Gilli Danda. Danda means it's a long stick, in just like a bat, okay, in the cricket which we used to play, and Danda means a small stick, Okay, one have to throw that small gilli, and the boy who is having danda, he will try to strike that gilli with the help of that danda. Okay, students. So he was playing that game. He would regularly go to the nearby Bihariji temple to sing the Bhojpuri Chaita. Okay, so at the time when he was 5 years old, he used to go to Bihariji temple. For what? For singing Bhojpuri Chaita. Now, see Chaita. What is Chaita? Chaita is a semi-classical song. Okay, and it is mainly sung in the month of Chait, mainly ending of March or April. Okay, this particular song, classical song, is sung there. So at the end of which he would earn a big laddu weighing 1.25 kg, a prize given by a local Maharaj. So when he used to sing that Chaita, there, he got reward. He was rewarded with a laddu of 1.25 kg as a prize. So that was his first prize, first reward he got after what we can say singing Chaita. This happened, this happened 80 years ago, and the little boy has travelled far to earn the highest civilian award in India, the Bharat Ratna. Okay, this happened 18 years ago. Okay, the boy who was playing Gilli Danda game, he had earned the highest civilian award of India, which is called Bharat Ratna. Born on 21 March 1916, Bismillah belonged to a well-known family of musicians from Bihar. Okay, actually he belonged to a what we can say a renowned musician family. His all family members were musicians. His grandfather Rasul Bakhsh Khan, was the Sehnai Nawaz of the Bhojpur king's court. His grandfather, whose name was Rasul Bakhsh Khan, he was also a what? Sehnai Nawaz, where he used to play in the Bhojpur king's court. Bhojpur, it's a name of a place in Bihar. It's a district. His father, Paigambar Bakhsh. Bismillah Khan's father's name was Paigambar Bakhsh, and other paternal ancestors. Paternal means what? Father sides. Ancestors of the father side were also great Sehnai players. So all his paternal ancestors were great Sehnai players. The young boy took to music early in life. At the age of 3, when his mother took him to his maternal uncle's house in Banaras, now called Varanasi. So when he was 3 years old, he was taken by his mother to Varanasi, at his maternal uncle's house. Bismillah was fascinated watching his uncle practicing the Sehnai. And in Banaras, when his maternal uncle used to play Sehnai, he was so fascinated, he was so attracted, to look his uncle playing Sehnai. Soon Bismillah started accompanying his uncle. Slowly and slowly he started going with his uncle, and whose name was Ali Bakhsh, to the Vishnu temple of Banaras. And they used to go to the Vishnu temple, where Bakhsh was employed to play the Sehnai. And in that temple, actually his uncle Ali Bakhsh, he was employed there to play Sehnai. Ali Bakhsh would play the Sehnai, and Bismillah would sit captivated for hours on end. And when his uncle used to play Sehnai in that Vishnu temple, so at the time, this Bismillah Khan, he would sit captivated. That means attracted. He was so fascinated, so attracted towards the music. Slowly he started getting lessons in playing the instrument, and slowly he started getting what? Lessons, learning lessons from his uncle, and would sit practicing throughout the day. And he keeps on practicing throughout the day. For years to come, the temple of Balaji and Mangla Maiya and the banks of the Ganga became the young apprentice's favorite haunt where he could practice in solitudes. Okay, so these three places, mainly the bank of river Ganga, okay, the temple of Balaji, and the Mangla Maya. These three places were his favorite place where he used to practice in solitude, means in isolation, in alone he used to practice there. And the flowing waters of the Ganga inspired him. The water which used to flow, okay, in the river Ganga, that used to inspire him to improvise and invent ragas, okay, that what we can say, he used to get a source of inspiration, okay, from the flowing of water to improve more and more, okay, and to invent ragas, okay, that were earlier considered to be beyond the range of the Sehnai, and he started inventing different ragas, okay, and which were earlier what, it's a very great thing, okay, it's a beyond the range of Sehnai. At the age of 14, Bismillah accompanied his uncle to the Allahabad Music Conference, and when he became 14-year old, okay, he went along with his uncle to Allahabad Music Conference. At the end of his recital, okay, and at the end of his recital means what, rehearsal, okay, when his rehearsal got finished, Ustad Fayaz Khan, okay, he was the expert. Ustad means what, expert. Ustad Fayaz Khan patted the young boy's back. He patted Bismillah Khan's back and said him, see what did he say, okay, he said that work hard and you shall make it. He said that work hard and definitely we are going to succeed. Okay, students. With the opening of All India Radio in Lucknow in 1938 came Bismillah's big break. And when All India Radio started in 1938, so that was the big break for Bismillah Khan. He got a break. He soon became an often heard Sehnai player on radio, and he started playing Sehnai, okay, very frequently, okay, on radio. When India gained independence on 15th August 1947, Bismillah Khan became the first Indian to greet the nation with his Sehnai, okay, on the eve of Indian independence on 15th August 1947. Bismillah Khan greeted the whole nation from the Red Fort by playing his Sehnai. He poured his heart out into Rag Kafi, okay, from the Red Fort. He sang, okay, Rag Kafi wholeheartedly from the Red Fort to an audience, and among that audience you see, which included Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru. He was also there, and who later gave his famous Tries to Destiny speech, and later Jawaharlal Nehru gave his speech that is Tries with Destiny. Okay, students. Bismillah Khan has given many memorable performances both in India and abroad. So he had given so many performances which were very remarkable both in India as well as in abroad. His first trip abroad was to Afghanistan, where King Jahir Shah was so taken means what we can say, attracted, okay, in by the maestro means expert, that he gifted him priceless Persian carpets, okay. So he was so attracted by his music when he played in Afghanistan, okay. That is why King Jahir Shah of Afghanistan, he gave him what, priceless Persian carpets, okay, and other souvenirs. Souvenir means what, things given in memory of place, person or event. The king of Afghanistan was not the only one to be fascinated or attracted with Bismillah's music, okay. Film director Bijay Bhatt was so impressed after hearing Bismillah's play at the festival that he named a film after the instrument called Gunj Uthi Sehnai. Okay, students. So the film director Vijay Bhatt, okay, he also got so impressed by his playing of that particular instrument, which is called Sehnai, and that is why he kept a name of his film, okay, movie, after that instrument, which is called Gunj Uthi Sehnai. The film was a hit, and that film became hit, okay, and one of Bismillah Khan's composition, in which Khan Saab has composed Dil Ka Khilona Hai Toot Gaya, okay, you might have heard this, turned out to be nationwide chartbuster. Chartbuster means what, you know? A record breaker, okay. His composition, that is Dil Ka Khilona Hai Toot Gaya, became a record breaker. Okay, students. So despite this huge success in the celluloid world, Bismillah Khan's venture in film music were limited to two. So his contribution mainly in the field of film movies was limited only up to two. One was, that is Dil Ka Khilona Hai Toot Gaya, okay, which he had composed, and after that Vijay Bhatt's Gunj Uthi Sehnai and Bikram Srinivas Kannad venture, and that is called your Sandhi Appanna. Okay, I just can't come to term with the artificiality and glamours of the film world. He says with emphasis. So he says that yes, he had worked only in two movies, okay, only in two films, and he said that, okay, he said that actually I can't work in the field of artificiality. Okay, students, so that is why he quit that field. And next, the awards and recognitions came thick and fast. Bismillah Khan became the first Indian to be invited to perform at the prestigious Lincoln Center Hall in the United States of America. Okay, he was invited in US, okay, at the prestigious Lincoln Center Hall to perform. He also took part in the World Exposition in Montreal, okay, in the Cannes Art Festival, and in Osaka Trades Fair. So he was invited in different countries, in Canada, in US, okay, to give his performances. So well known did he become internationally that an auditorium in Tehran was named after him. He became so popular, okay, in abroad also. So that is why in Tehran, where is Tehran? It's a capital of Iran, okay. So in Tehran there is one auditorium, and the name of that auditorium was kept after him, and that name is Tahar Mosik Ustad Bismillah Khan. Okay, students. National awards like the Padma Shri, the Padma Bhushan, and the Padma Vibhushan were conferred on him. Okay, so he was given national awards like Padma Bhushan, Padma Vibhushan. Okay. In 2001, Ustad Bismillah Khan was awarded India's highest civilian award. In 2001, okay, he received the highest civilian award, which is called the Bharat Ratna. He got Bharat Ratna in 2001, okay. With the confetti award resting on his chest and his eyes glinting with rare happiness, he said. So he was so happy, he was so excited, okay. His eyes were glittering with happiness, and he said, all I would like to say is teach your children music. This is Hindustan's richest tradition, okay. So he asked all the Indians to teach their children music, okay. Because why do you know? Because this is Hindustan's richest tradition, and even the West is now coming to learn our music. Okay, students. In spite of having travelled all over the world, Khan Sahab, as he is fondly he was called what? Khan Sahab. Okay. is exceedingly fond of Banaras and Dumrao. He was so fond of his birthplace, Dumrao, okay, in Bihar, and Banaras, where he used to practice the music, okay, in the bank of river Ganga. So he was so fond of that place, and they remained for him the most wonderful town of the world, even though he had visited abroad so many countries. But Dumrao and Banaras, okay, were the most wonderful towns of the world for him. So it shows his, what we can say, his belongingness, okay, to a nation, okay, how patriot he was, how he used to love his own place. A student of his once wanted him to head a Sehnai school in USA. One of his student asked him, okay, student, to open one Sehnai school in USA, and the student promised to recreate the atmosphere of Banaras, and he also promised that he will recreate the same atmosphere of the Banaras, where in US, okay, by replicating the temples there. He will what? He will that means replicating means what? Copying. Okay, each and every temple he will also made there in US, and he requested him to open one music school there. But Khan Sahab asked him if he would be able to transport river Ganga as well. Okay, so this is not possible, isn't it? Because a river cannot be shifted from one place to another, isn't it? And same river. So it shows, actually, it shows his belongingness. Okay, how he used to fond not only Banaras, Dumrao, okay, but the Ganga river too. He used to love, okay, the river Ganga. It shows his love and concern towards the river. Later he is remembered to have said, okay, and later he had said, see what he had said. That is why whenever I am in a foreign country, he said that whenever he used to be in a foreign country, I keep yearning. Yearning means longing to see Hindustan. When he used to be in foreign country, always he longed for Hindustan. Always he used to miss Hindustan. While in Mumbai, when he used to be in Mumbai, I think of only Banaras and the Holy Ganga. Okay, when he used to be in Mumbai, he used to think of what? Only the Banaras and the Holy Ganga. And while in Banaras, I miss the unique mutt of Dumrao. That means the temples, okay, of Dumrao. So his sayings only shows that how he had love and affection towards his birthplace. Okay. So let's see. Ustad Bismillah Khan's life is a perfect example of rich and cultural heritage of India. Okay, students. So now we can see, okay, that yes, really, Ustad Bismillah Khan's life is a perfect example of rich and cultural heritage of India. One that effortlessly accept that a devout means what? Believing strongly in a religion and obeying its laws and following its practices. Devout Muslim like him can very naturally play the Sehnai every morning, okay, at Kasi Biswanath temple. So this very sentence shows what? Do you know? His patriotism. Really, he was a patriot, okay. He was having a very strong sense of patriotism in him, okay. Though he was a Muslim, okay, he used to believe strongly, okay. He used to obey its all the laws and practices, but still he used to sing in the temples. He used to play that instrument Sehnai in the temples, okay. So it shows, okay, that he is above the religion, okay. For him, the first thing is what? Our nation, okay. For him, the first thing is our nation, okay. So he was really a very patriotic person. Okay, students. So in this, what we have seen that yes, it is totally the biography of Bismillah Khan, okay, and how the musical instrument Sehnai came into existence. About that we have discussed here, and the life history of Bismillah Khan. I hope you have understood. Okay, students, thank you.